Before we dive too far into this video, please make sure to hit that like button, make sure to subscribe, and join the Discord link down below in the description. Only a small percent of my current viewers are subscribed, and it really helps out the channel, and if you guys dislike the content, you can always unsubscribe later. So, a couple months ago, I made a video on the Brimstone. I stated that it should receive access to the Fire and Forget Seeker head that Gaijin refused to give it, which, at the time, when Gaijin made the claim, or made the decision to not give it Fire and Forget, it made sense. There was no reason for it to necessarily have it, and it was a missile that a lot of people wanted. And even when I made my video several months ago, I could still understand why people were against it getting the Fire and Forget Seeker. But now, I'm making another video, and I am again saying I think the Brimstone should get access to the Fire and Forget Seeker head. I am not saying that Gaijin should give the current Brimstone we have in-game access to it. In my opinion, Gaijin should add a second version of the Brimstone, and allow aircraft like the Tornado and the Eurofighter to carry small, limited numbers of the Fire and Forget version of the Brimstone. At least at the bare minimum 4, but possibly upwards of 6 and 8. This honestly makes perfect sense to me personally, because now Gaijin has even given the addition to all of the helicopters minus only a few nations, but the US, China, and Russia now all have access to Fire and Forget missiles for helicopters. And now every nation in War Thunder has access to a top-tier SPAA. This leaves nations like Germany, Britain, without any great Fire and Forget missile options for their strike aircraft. The Brimstone should be a lot more like the Hellfire or the KH-38, a missile system that almost every other nation has access to. Yet Gaijin doesn't give it Britain, Germany, or any of these nations that have access to the Brimstone the capability to actually have a Fire and Forget version. I don't see any reason with why Gaijin shouldn't, like the JAGM missile on the Apaches, limit the missiles. I mean, we're seeing it now with these new helicopters, where Gaijin's only limiting them to 8 or so of the Fire and Forget weapon systems, which is perfectly good for them to balance the game. So the Brimstone should now absolutely be considered to get the Fire and Forget Seeker. Again, I'm not saying that the version we have in-game, the SAL version, should lose or should get access to the Fire and Forget. I'm not saying that. I don't think it should. But I do think a second version would make a lot of sense for Gaijin to just go ahead and add it with the capability to have Fire and Forget, because it just helps balance out the game. It's not going to be game-breaking to let something like a Tornado GR4, which is a very heavy strike fighter, it doesn't have the maneuverability something like the Eurofighter has, to carry 4 or 6 or maybe even 8 of these missiles. Yes, it's going to be a very good missile, I'm not disagreeing with that. But we still have things like the KH-38, and we have things like the Maverick, which, when you have aircraft that can carry 6 of them, there's really no reason why an aircraft like the Tornado GR4 or the Eurofighters can't have 2, 4, 6, 8 Fire and Forget Brimstones. Now, again, given the fact that my last video I made on the Brimstone was kind of taken a bit poorly by my viewers, I do understand what you guys are saying. That yes, aircraft like the Eurofighter can carry 18 Brimstones, and they are some of the best laser-guided, if not the best laser-guided missile in the game. I'm not going to disagree with that statement. But you gotta understand where I'm coming from, where things like the Tornado GR4 don't have the same capabilities and maneuverability as like the Eurofighter. So giving access to at least, a handful of these Fire and Forget missiles, especially now that Gaijin has given this capability to almost every single helicopter in the game, and has now limited the helicopters as well, so it does show that they're willing to do that. There really is no excuse to not, and I can't think of any. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are down below in the comments. I do ask, if you disagree with my statement, to go ahead and let me know why in the comments. I do want to understand where the player base is at, so I can continue to make content that kind of aligns with that, but I have no idea what players are thinking or wanting if no one lets me know. So if you guys made it this far in the video, and even if you agree or disagree, let me know your thoughts in the comments, why Gaijin should or shouldn't add Fire and Forget capability to Brimstone missiles. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If it isn't too much to ask, I would ask that you guys share the video, leave a like, comment your thoughts, make sure to subscribe, and to join the Discord that's linked down below in the description. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.